The Great River Road is one of America's longest and most scenic driving routes, following the course of the Mississippi River nearly 3,000 miles from northern Minnesota to the Gulf of Mexico in Louisiana. Established in 1938, the route passes through 10 states and hundreds of river towns, connecting travelers with historic communities, wildlife, refuges, towering bluffs, and some of the most important landscapes in American history. Rather than being a single highway, the Great River Road is a collection of connected roads marked by the familiar green and white pilot's wheel signs that guide travelers along the river corridor. The stretch between Savanna and Clinton offers some of the most scenic river views in the upper Mississippi Valley. The 20-mile stretch between Savanna, Illinois and Clinton, Iowa is some of the most scenic river views in the upper Mississippi Valley. This portion of the drive winds through limestone bluffs, wooded river bottoms, small river towns, and broad backwater wetlands that are part of the Upper Mississippi River National Wildlife and Fish Refuge. Travelers pass through quiet communities where the river culture still shapes daily life, and there are frequent overlooks and parks that reveal sweeping views of the Mississippi River and its islands. The bridge from Savanna through Cibola is one of my favorite drives because you're out on this really great lifted road and there's water on both sides. Today we didn't see a whole lot of wildlife, but usually when we drive through here, we're seeing all kinds of snowy egrets and eagles and all kinds of wildlife in the water. So if you have an opportunity to drive this little stretch of the Mississippi River, please do so. Cibola is a great little river town. It has a couple of really great little eating places, a gas station, and if you go straight down the island instead of turning to leave right here, you'll eventually get to a little campground that gives you some fabulous views of the Mississippi River. Okay, so we're going to turn south here on 67, watching for the pilot's wheel that marks the road. We have turned south on Highway 67 towards Clinton, Iowa now, and let me give you a little history of the river along this stretch. So during the 1800s, giant log rafts on the Mississippi River were one of the most impressive sights anywhere in the Midwest. Millions of logs cut from the forests of Minnesota and Wisconsin were floated downstream to sawmills in river towns like Clinton, Dubuque, and Davenport. The rafts were enormous, sometimes over a quarter-mile long and several acres wide. Thousands upon thousands of logs were tied together with chains, cables, and heavy timbers into floating platforms. Small buildings, cook shacks, and even sleeping quarters could sit right on top of the rafts because crews often spent days traveling downstream. In the North Woods, lumberjacks cut pine trees during the winter. When spring snow melted, the logs were rolled into the river that flowed into the Mississippi. Workers called river pigs guided the logs downstream and broke up dangerous log jams. Once enough logs gathered, crews assembled them into gigantic rafts. Steamboats called towboats pushed or pulled the rafts south to mills along the river. By the late 1800s, Clinton became one of the biggest lumber processing cities in the world. Some years it produced over 1 billion board feet of lumber. The town was filled with sawmills, smokestacks, rail yards, and giant piles of cut timber. One thing many travelers quickly notice is that the Great River Road can be surprisingly difficult to follow at times. Unlike a single, uninterrupted highway, this route has gradually been absorbed into modern transportation systems as cities and towns expand along the riverbank. In many areas, the original scenic routing has broken apart, rerouted, or merged with new highways, designed for faster travel and growing traffic demands. Because of this, drivers often transition between state highways, county roads, city streets, and divided highways, while still technically remaining on the Great River Road. Paying attention to the pilot's wheel signs becomes part of the adventure, especially in developed areas where the route briefly leaves the river or splits between alternate paths. What makes the drive memorable is that it captures both the natural beauty and the working history of the Mississippi River. Along the Savanna to Clinton section, you can see active rail lines, river barges, historic bridges, and old industrial riverfronts mixed with quiet marshes and dramatic bluff country. The route constantly shifts between scenic wilderness and small-town Americana, giving travelers a close look at how deeply the Mississippi River shaped the growth of the Midwest. Our first stop in Clinton, Iowa is the Elijah Buell Terrace. This is a small scenic overlook and riverfront terrace along the Mississippi River levee in Clinton. It was named after Elijah Buell, one of the very first permanent settlers in Clinton and founder of the original town of Lyons, which later became part of modern-day Clinton. The terrace sits along the city's Discovery Trail and gives elevated views of the Mississippi River, river traffic, islands, and the levee system. The site includes an overlook plaza, walking trails, benches, a covered shelter, and a historical plaque about Elijah Buell and the early settlement. So our first stop is the Elijah Buell Terrace, and we're having this great big barge to look at, so that was kind of cool. And as a bonus for this location, right across the street there's a giant wooden troll, so I'm super excited. We're gonna walk over there now.
That is so cool. He's got a tree in his bucket.
While we were admiring Helmet the Troll, someone let us know that there was a second troll in town at the Arboretum called the Bickelhaupt Arboretum. And so we made our way there through the old town, but before we could get there, we found this little antique mall, and I just had to go in.
Rawr. Hello. Hello. You're a little sweetie pie. Yes, you are. Nice little greeter. Mr. Craig. I thought I was done until I found a secret staircase. And there's more goodies upstairs. Let's go up. Wow, look at this curved wall and the shutters on the window. These bedrooms were pretty small, but what a cool house. I really kind of just came in to look at the house. This place has just one surprise after another. Oh. Whoa. This would be a great place to have a tea party. So this antique wall is pretty cool. It was just a little bonus that we got along our trip today. There's the dam.
Damn.
You can walk out on that island.
You can?
Yeah.
Oh, you go right ahead. Looks a little mushy to me.
There's a road to it over the dam.
There's the fake lighthouse.
Yep. There's the candlelight and the boat.
The showboat.
Our next stop is the Candlelight Restaurant along the Mississippi River. And this is a really great spot for us. We've been here several times. The birthday boy got Chicken George and I got a steak. And we both got the views. You might notice that this restaurant is up on stilts, and you guessed it, for the reason of flooding. But there's an elevator up to the restaurant, and I'll tell you what, you cannot beat the views of this place.
So first we have this loader of some kind, probably rock. This is our seat inside Candlelight. How cool is that? Thank you. We just got our drinks. And then we're just gonna swing around down here. And we see first, look, the riverboat right there on the right. And then there's the bridge. We're gonna go across that bridge later on. That's the south side of our circle tour. And there's a train going across the train bridge below it. How cool is that?
Before we leave the Candlelight, I wanted to show you a view of the harbor that we're sitting in and the little docks. And this is a very interesting little monument here, and you can see at the bottom that is the flood stage for the 500-year flood that we had. There's one of those markers marking the high water. And I know we are headed towards the South Bridge, but first we wanted to find the Arboretum, and it is kind of close by, so we're going to go through a little bit of town to get there.
So we found a second troll in Clinton, and it's at an arboretum, and the place looks like it's all brand new. I feel a little bad, but everybody else is walking on this grass sprayed stuff. But look, wait, step right here. Look, it's right there on that hillside. How cool is that? Oh, no, that's so amazing. Oh, I have to say that I did not know that I was going to really like trolls this much. And every time you see one, it feels like the first time you're seeing something like this. This is really cool. I got to get closer.
That girl is a runner. She was born to get away. Hear that two-tone humming, headed out to the highway. I should have seen it.
So that makes that troll number 2, and as a bonus, this gentleman right here interviewed me. How fun was that? I'm going to be on the local news. So he also told us that there are 2 more trolls here in town. So we went past it at Eagle Point or something like that park. And but I'm not sure. I think we're gonna head over to across the river, and there's some stuff over there that we'd like to see.
The thing that I forgot would set her free. I taught her how to leave. In the summer, man, it feels like yesterday when she was looking out that window on the bus to 2nd grade. The first step she'd ever take, the first cut from a heartbreak. Been through it all, but now it's time to go our separate ways. There's a first for everything, like her hand holding mine. Now I'm left here with the pain from her I love you goodbye. And though it hurts to watch my whole world become the woman she would be, the thing that I forgot would set her free. I taught her how to leave. There's a first for everything, like her hand holding mine. Now I'm left here with the pain from her I love you goodbye. And though it hurts to watch my baby girl become the woman she would be, the thing that I forgot would set her free. I taught her how to leave.
So we were driving up north on Illinois on Highway 84, and we saw a sign for Big Slough recreation area, and so we thought we'd just come over. It gets us closer to the Mississippi again, and there are some really cool islands just downstream from here. Have a look. Yeah, so it's basically just a parking lot here, but it's wonderful. You can get right up next to the Mississippi. So cool.
On my way, I was almost there, but the monkeys, they all read now appearing nowhere. Let's go to the carnival. You can cut me in half. I'll do anything for a laugh.
So we left the slough and we are continuing up the Old River Road, which is a segment of the old road that it's intermittent now. And now the next stop is right along the road, and it's Sloan's Marsh. And I love all these really cool things around the river. And it's raining, it's starting to rain harder. Let's take a quick look and then we'll jump back in the truck.
To your breath, how can I compete? The mirrors are slanted, my reflection still.
Nope, somebody ruined it.
The marquee, they all read.
Okay, and we're right across the street from the Upper Mississippi River National Wildlife Fish Service. The gates are closed, so we can't go in. It must not be for the public. Okay, time to get on the road and keep going. Thank you for watching. Everybody have a wonderful day.